Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment. 32 teams, 32 days, and today we are discussing the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles as a part of my 32 teams, 32 days season preview series here on Sports Fan Entertainment. We're going to discuss the Eagles today, discuss their strengths, weaknesses, give you some statistical projections, give you some bold predictions, and then finish with my win-loss prediction for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I hate to bore you people today, but this is going to be a very boring video, okay? Because there's just not much to say about this football team that we honestly don't already know. This team has not changed much from last season, and as long as they can maintain the fire that they had last season, this should be one of the best teams in the NFL and a Super Bowl contender once again, and maybe even Super Bowl champions. The first strength for this football team, let's start with their offensive line that will be receiving Jason Peters back. And yes, he is getting older, but even in his later years, he is still one of, if not maybe even the best left tackle in the NFL. They're getting him back, and we know even if he has lost a step and if he gets injured again, we were okay with the performance of Halapuli Vaitai, who stepped in and did a pretty decent job on the left side. So even if Peters isn't quite up to par, Vaitai can step up. We saw that last season. We also have Lane Johnson at the right tackle position. We know how viable he's been for Carson Wentz in his career. Brandon Brooks at right guard. Stefan Wisniewski at left guard. And then, of course, we have Jason Kelce at center, if probably the best center in the NFL. This offensive line is stacked. It is what helps this Philadelphia Eagles team move so well. And their offense was absolutely terrific, mainly because of this offensive line last season, but also because of their other strength, the quarterback position. Not only quarterback one, but also quarterback two. Now, maybe it's all because of the system. Maybe it's all because of the scheme. But regardless, Carson Wentz and Nick Foles are an absolute strength for this football team. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no denying. Carson Wentz, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions last season. I'm not quite expecting that type of a season. We're going to get to my stat projections in a moment. But I'm still expecting a very high caliber season from Carson Wentz in 2018. And if he goes down, which by the way, I highly doubt, we know what Nick Foles, the Super Bowl MVP, can do. Quarterback is definitely a strength for this football team. Definitely. Move on to the defensive line, which is also a strength. Brandon Graham, the Super Bowl hero. This guy had 9.5 sacks last season. Now, this is the last year of his contract, so he's going to be looking to have another good season to get one last payday for his NFL career. This is probably going to be the last big contract that he signs coming up, so you know he's going to want to have a big year. Chris Long is still on this roster. Derek Barnett, the 2017 first round pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. You're expecting him to take another step forward. And he won't be starting yet, but hopefully he can contend for the starting position. Michael Bennett, formerly of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, he hasn't been particularly dominant for the Philadelphia Eagles, but still, he's been a consistent defensive lineman for this football team that has really helped them ascend to being one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFL. But we also can't forget about the interior defensive linemen, Fletcher Cox and Timmy Jernigan, especially Fletcher Cox, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, top 5 defensive tackle, no doubt about it. Next to him, Timmy Jernigan, who they stole from the Baltimore Ravens. While the Ravens ever made that deal, I would never understand. This defensive line is stacked. The offensive line is stacked. The quarterback position is stacked. These are absolute strengths for the Philadelphia Eagles. We move on to their weaknesses, and look, man, they're just not really there. And remember, I look at weaknesses in combination of both relative to the league and relative to the team. So although the Eagles' worst positional unit ain't that bad relative to the league, it's still a weakness for their football team. So I'm going to say running backs. Now, this may surprise some of you. And again, that's not to say that Jay Ajayi, Corey Clement, Darren Sproles, that combination is bad in the league. It is not. Okay, I would rank it probably in the middle of the league, maybe 15, maybe even, going up towards number 10 in the top 10. Definitely wouldn't be a top 10 running back unit to me, but anywhere from 10 to 15, I'd be fine with that ranking. It's not bad relative to the league. We're looking to the rest of the team. Yes, it is a weakness for the Eagles, right? There's no Pro Bowler here. Jay Ajayi could be that, but not in the NFC. In the AFC, perhaps not in the NFC. So for this team, okay, it's a weakness for this team, but make no doubt about it, it ain't bad. Okay, so let me be clear. It's a weakness for the Eagles, but even this weakness is not bad. Let me be clear right now. So we move on to my statistical projections for the Philadelphia Eagles, and let's start with quarterback Carson Wentz, who likely would have won MVP last season if he did not tear his ACL. I have him down for 4,100 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 97.0 passer rating. Now, I'm very interested to see what y'all think about this. Now, some Eagles fans are convinced he's going to throw for 40 touchdowns, less than 10 interceptions, and I think it's possible. I want to be a little hesitant, though, before I proclaim Carson Wentz is the next god of the NFL. Make no doubt about it. This stat line would be a great stat line, okay? Go look at Peyton Manning's career. Go look at Tom Brady's career. They had plenty of years like this. Not every year is going to be 40 plus, 50 plus touchdowns. You're going to have damn good years like this added to your career, and we're going to say that was a damn good year. That's what I'm projecting for Carson Wentz this year. But I still think, yeah, there definitely is the possibility for 40 plus touchdowns. I just want to see another year of Carson Wentz being an absolute beast before I'm ready to project those kind of numbers again. Just give me one more year, please. Okay, running back Jay Ajayi, 150 carries, 675 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I don't have the biggest expectations for Jay Ajayi. I think the Eagles want to get Darren Sproles more involved this season, and Corey Clement as well. I think they're going to take away from Jay Ajayi, and I think that's going to hurt his stat production a little bit, but I still think he's going to be a particularly efficient running back. So if you want to get him in your fantasy leagues, you can. I just think there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching going on with the Eagles this season. And then wide receiver Alshon Jeffrey, 65 catches, 900 yards, and 6 touchdowns. There are a lot of mouths to feed in Philadelphia, people. You have Alshon Jeffrey, you have Nelson Aguilar, you have Zach Ertz, you have Dallas Goedert, who I really like, their second-round draft pick out of South Dakota State. They also have Mac Hollins, who they drafted last year. They're expecting him to take a step up. They signed Mike Wallace in free agency. I don't see anyone breaking 1,000 receiving yards. There's just way too many mouths to feed, and Darren Sproles is back in the receiving game, right? So no wide receivers will break 1,000 yards, but this will be a little more than Alshon Jeffrey had last season, and I'm sure he will take that. So with that said, we move on to my bold predictions. Bold prediction number 1, as I alluded to earlier, I think Jay Ajayi is going to have a little bit of a disappointing season. I think Corey Clement and Darren Sproles will get considerable carries in this offense this year. You're hearing Darren Sproles getting a lot of first team reps, especially on third down in training camp. I expect that to continue, and I expect Corey Clement to continue to progress as an NFL player and really try to challenge for a starting role on this Eagles running back depth chart. Look out for Corey Clement, people. So I have Jay Ajayi having a disappointing season. Bold prediction number 2, I think Dallas Goedert has a very good rookie year, breaking 500 receiving yards, and this is significant for a tight end too. Trey Burton, who we all know, last year he only had about 300 receiving yards. So even though we saw him a lot, he only had about 300 receiving yards. I think Dallas Goedert is going to break 500. Athletic tight end out of South Dakota State. He's going to fit in perfectly with this Eagles team. You're hearing him making strides and moves in training camp. He's turning heads, he's opening eyes, and I expect more of the same in the regular season. And then bold prediction number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles start 4-0. You look at the Eagles' schedule, they host the Atlanta Falcons week 1, that's a win to me. They go to the Jameis Winston suspended Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 2, that's a win to me. They host the Colts in week 3, that's a win to me. And they go to Tennessee in week 4, that is a win to me. And by the way, week 5, they host Minnesota, which could very well be a win also. So I say 4-0 start, and it could definitely be 5-0 for the Philadelphia Eagles. So with that said, dude, let's just do the win-loss prediction, man. I mean, there's just not much to talk about when it comes to this team. All that's gonna matter with this team is, will they have a Super Bowl hangover? We can analyze the roster all we want. At the end of the day, they're talented as hell. They're the best roster in the league. Now, the Minnesota Vikings are very, very, very close. The LA Rams are pretty damn close, but I still think the Eagles have the best roster in the league. They have such an incredible home field advantage. The question is, will they have a Super Bowl hangover? That's what we need to discuss. We don't need to discuss Malcolm Jenkins and Rodney McLeod. We get it. They're good. We understand that. Will they have a Super Bowl hangover? Now, we've seen lately in the past number of years, teams really haven't had a Super Bowl hangover. The Patriots returned to the Super Bowl after beating the Falcons. We also saw the Seahawks return after beating the Broncos. Teams have been returning to the Super Bowl having decent regular seasons, maybe even better regular seasons. The Packers won the Super Bowl in 2010 at a 10-6 record, came back next year, were 15-1. So I don't think we're going to see much of a hangover here. I think Carson Wentz is going to come back seamlessly. I don't expect many problems from him. And the Eagles' schedule, it's not that hard. There are some difficult games, though. I don't like them going to LA, and I know they won that game last year, but trust me, LA's good. You know LA's good. I think they're going to sneak up on you in that game. I think the Cowboys split with you this year. I like the Cowboys right now with Zeke Elliott and Dak Prescott. Again, I think you're better, but I think you'll probably split with them this year. The Giants you normally own, but I think they're dangerous with Saquon Barkley added to their mix. And their defense, you know, it's up and down. We'll see what they can do this year, but I think that could also be problematic as well. You also host the Vikings, and you could trip up against a Tennessee or a Jacksonville if you're not careful. So my prediction is 12-4. Now, do not jump down my throat, Jesus Christ, Eagles fans. This is not a bad prediction for me to have you going 12-4. My goodness. I know you want to hear 13-3, 14-2. Let me tell you this. Okay, I have not made my Super Bowl prediction yet, but let me tell you, I am leaning Philadelphia Eagles because this roster is the same damn roster it was last year. They suffered injuries to Jordan Hicks and Jason Peters and Carson Wentz, and they still got it done last year. So to me, there's no reason why they honestly should not win it again this year. And now we have proven, we've seen that they can win it, right? They have the mental fortitude to do it. So make no doubt about it. Right now, I'm leaning for y'all to win the Super Bowl. But it's just hard to win 13 plus games every year. Just understand that. Remember when the Eagles were at their height in the early 2000s, right? You didn't win 13 games every year. The Patriots have been dominating the NFL for the past 15 years. Do they win 13 plus games every year? No, they win 12 occasionally. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine to have you guys winning the NFC East and still being one of the best teams in the NFL. Now, best case scenario, to me, it's 15-1. It's not 16-0. I'm not quite sure you're 16-0 yet. I think that takes a lot of years, a lot of nuance, just absolute chemistry on all sides of things. And I think the Eagles are a little too early in their dynasty to go 16-0, right? If they have a dynasty coming. The Patriots, it took them all the way until 2007 when Brady was a veteran and Bill Belichick was a veteran for them to go 16-0. Like, it's going to take some time for you to be absolutely perfect like that. That's going to take some time, right? I'll say 15-1. Worst case scenario, I mean, I don't see it being worse than 11-5. I mean, this roster's too damn stacked. And right now they're healthy, man. So again, I'm gonna go a little conservative. I'll say 12-4 because again, 13 plus. I always avoid picking 13 plus wins. I like saving those wins for other teams for me to disperse to other teams. So maybe I'm just cheap. I'm going 12-4 for the Philadelphia Eagles. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the 2018 Philadelphia Eagles. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. I want to know if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow to preview the LA Rams, another NFC contender. Can't wait for that. This has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.